Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis, and it's Talking Comics. We're going to talk some comics. These are comics for the week of October 16th, 2024. We'll start out with my comic book shirt today. Comic book shirt here. Hope you can see that. It's very, very subtle. It is waste. Actually, W-A-S-T-E. And right off the bat, I cannot remember what that stands for. Trying to remember. This is I've never seen one in the wild t-shirt from the original run of Casanova, back when it was Image Comics, back when it was a single tone comic sold for $1. It was awesome. On the back of it, it says being bad is good again, and bad is the only thing. It's in white, and the rest of it is in this subtle color. I actually have one for the other half of the Casanova story, and maybe I'll dig that out and wear that next time. Anyway, the real reason we're here to talk some comics. We'll start out in no particular order. Ooh, I got to find a way to hold this stuff so it doesn't shine. Anyway, UltraMega, okay, issue number 6. I feel like this is a turn point in the book as far as everything's kind of been chaos and out of control. Not that things are necessarily in control at this point in the story, but the challenge has been thrown down. The goal, this is what's really happening, not just what you think's happening, not just playing your superhero and beating up a few giant monsters. There's this whole other thing that is there. Absolutely brilliant book artistically. James Herron just draws super fun stuff. I'm going to pull this out so I can show some of it. So like these little dudes back here. So a lot of the people in society, in our normal society, walk around wearing these little white suits. And when and the suit is a protection suit. It actually shows an ad in here. At some point, and that but then basically the suit is a protection suit, and if something bad is happening, the suit puffs up and protects you from from whatever dangers are around and stuff. And I mean, it puffs you up into a giant ball that's basically indestructible. I love this scene. Someone riding the train over here, and that giant tooth smashing down next to him. Just a brilliantly drawn book. James Herron, I'll keep saying, is a master of action and kinetic energy in his storytelling. There's some other wild aspects of this book. I was hoping I could find, just right off the top of my head, one of the regular people puffing up into a giant ball. Here we go. Here's our masses of people. And in this case, this lady's just here. She's doing her day shift job, and she's talking to this guy, and he freaks out and puffs up. Turns into a giant ball and bounces along. So it's all based on your emotions, too, it seems, as far as... I think they're funny. Get a good chuckle out of that. Anyway, 2 more issues of this. Looking forward to reading it. It's visually just lots and lots of fun. Really, really dig it. Local Man, issue number 25, and the Image of Tomorrow, a little blazoned there. This is the last issue for the foreseeable future until they decide they want to do more or whatever. I am not a fan of this ending. It's kind of an homage to 90s Image Comics, and I get it. That's what these guys love and whatnot. It's not my bag. And I feel like this last issue, they dipped too hard into that. There were a few aspects of the story that I did enjoy. The kind of, okay, we need to move on to the new people. That part of the story that felt like it was part of the story and not some not some celebration of those old 90s comics. I kind of feel like this could have ended in like last issue better than what it landed here for me. Not saying it's poorly written, not saying it's poorly drawn. Just I don't have the same level of investment. I don't think that they have in some of that stuff. So anyway, it's been an enjoyable comic. Highly recommend Local Man. It is by and large brilliant. I am super hard on how comics end. They didn't say this was for sure the end, just that they're done for the foreseeable future. Is the impression I was left by reading the back matter on it, that we won't see Local Man for a while until they have something else to say. Because very specifically, they had something that they wanted to say outside of the whole celebrate those 90s Image comics. And that's the part that I thought made the story really good. The whole, you failed, completely failed, and now what's next? What's next? And that was a large part of what the story was. And I super enjoyed that aspect of it. Alrighty. Wonder Woman issue number 14, probably one of my favorite comics of the week. Just emotionally super heavy and super right. I mean, it was just really heavy. There's a major death in this issue, and it's extremely heavy, and the way it was handled, and the attempts that were made to try and fix that, and then not, were all really, really good. Daniel Samfree's art is super, super good in this issue. Just really emotional. Of course, you have to me, Moray colors definitely add to that, elevate the comic. So we see basically the birth of Trinity, a character who has been in a lot of these issues as a backup story. And those backup stories are all extremely light and funny and goofy. They're largely adventures in babysitting, sorts of things with Damien and John, babysitting her at different ages of her lives when different things are going on. And those are all good, fun chuckles. Definitely not in this. There's sorrow, joy at the very, very end of it. With Trinity coming. I love how that's done. I love how that's created. It cements back the idea that Diana is made of the earth, not the child of a god. Excellent stuff all the way around. I'm super looking forward to seeing where this book goes, where the story goes now, because I'm assuming Wonder Woman has a different level of responsibility if she has a child. What that's going to mean for her, and the choices that she makes. It will be interesting to see how much that gets explored. Very much looking forward to it. Excellent comic. Like I said, probably one of my favorites easily of the week. Just really emotionally good. Then next up we have the Department of Truth, issue number 26. I thought I had said when I was showing these books as my new comic book day that I thought that this was going to answer some stuff and kind of end a thing. No, so I didn't realize guest artist on this issue, Samson. It is about Marilyn Manson, our Bigfoot hunter, is got a new assignment, and his new assignment is to watch over and protect Marilyn Monroe, because some stuff has kind of gone weird. She's she's been removed from a movie that's coming up, and she's watched over, and the agent is really curious and concerned. He's not a people person. Hollywood is definitely not his thing. Why would he be sent there when typically his job is we got a rogue Mothman or a rogue Bigfoot out there that needs to be taken care of. And that's where the really interesting stuff is implied with the story. Just really, really cool. Really like the Department of Truth. So our art by Samson is a different style, but it works. Here you are, paying homage to the Warhol prints. But I just love the coloring. It gives it kind of a almost noir-ness to it as we kind of bleed out of reality and deciding what Marilyn Monroe is. She talks about, maybe mistakenly having sung a birthday song to the, President Kennedy, the, infamous Happy Birthday, which set off a sea of rumors that John F. Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe had something going on, though timeline-wise, where each people were at the time would be basically impossible. How that kind of took control of stuff and whatnot. Just really some really interesting stuff going on there. And we do, of course, get that moment of the Lady in Red. Just really, really, really good stuff. Really entertaining. Always looking forward to seeing what the next issue, how it's going to inform us, where it's going to take us, and that sort of stuff. We're still kind of in this 60s era, in this JFK assassination part of the book, and which kind of informs the whole Lee Harvey Oswald aspect of the Department of Truth and that sort of stuff. Really curious to see where this takes us to once we get out the other side of this part of it. Informs our newer agents and boyfriends / reporters, and then where does that all go from there? Lots of times I can kind of project, I kind of think in my head, this is potentially where a book is going to, and what the end might be. Zero clue with this book. And that's either exciting or that's worrisome if you think that the writer's not going to land it. I don't have that issue, but I know other people do. But it's the ride has been excellent all the way along. So next up, we have Galaxy of Madness, issue number 4. Our crew of space archaeologists need answers. They've got some cryptic stuff. They're a little robot that kind of helps them run the day-to-day is being overwhelmed by alien data, and they need to figure it out. So they take it to the one person they think can help them with that. It's somebody that was friends with our main character's parents back in the day, and was friends with Odious also, and they're not friends anymore. Lots of uncomfortability happens through this. They do translate some of the data. Ends up being that it looks like a map that has to be unlocked. It's coordinates to go to get information to unlock a key in a specific way to open up whatever mystery thing is that they do not know what that is. Is the long and short of it. But just really, really good comic. I continue to enjoy it. Like the interaction between the characters. Michael Avon Oeming's art continues to just be some cool stuff. Love the whole our monk landing in to take care of stuff, or jumping from the ship and then going inside the place to battle some robots and let them know what's what and stuff. So yeah, I just really, like I said, really enjoying the comic. I look forward to wherever it's going to take us. Of course, we still have these secrets. It's got some campiness to it that I love. The whole let's see if it says here. This the whole Galaxy of Madness, 22 pages of science fiction, issue number 4. And it ends kind of in the same sort of a way. I can see if I can show it without spoiling anything. Oh, the very end of it down there at the bottom. I just love that kind of old school comic, 60s betrayal. Would Odious Rex take his own daughter's life? Will Virgil Virgo wind up in an unmarked grave on some nameless planet? Find out in the next wildly upsetting chapter of Galaxy of Madness. I don't know. It amuses me. So, but yes, Magdalene Vizgali, excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. Just a lot of fun and interesting romp. Next up, we have Black Cloak, issue number 9. Love this story. Really interesting characters, interesting world. Love the art. I'm saying all that because this issue I stumbled in places to not. I love this opening page. My light's probably too bright now. So you're looking underwater, and so our main characters are going into the water. So we only see the bottom half of them because our eye view is under the water, and I absolutely just love that. And then above the water as they plunge in. Beautiful art, really cool and whatnot. And then we kind of get into some fight scenes, and I have no idea. And I don't know if that's supposed to be because we're in this lagoon and we can barely see. I think our bag thing is back here. It attacks. These pages are confusing. I'm not 100% sure what's going on. And I don't know if that's the intent. If the intent is that vision is so bad we really can't see it. Oh gosh, this is terrible. Sort of thing. I'm just not 100% sure. And then there's some other elements that happen in this. And some descriptions and some talks about some stuff in the issue that I'm a little confused on, and I don't know if I'm not remembering some little tidbit from the prior run, or if it's because there's this entire world, and coolly as a general rule, we're not spoon fed anything about the world. You figure it out as you go along. It's just kind of assumed that we, as the reader, are part of the environment and understand stuff. And most things get explained to us as we go along. Oh, okay, they're a fae folk. They can fly, or there's mermaids and they eat people. They live in this lagoon and they're kind of locked off and secluded in their own little thing, and everybody's happy. And the mermaids have kind of sworn off eating things, except for accidentally if it gets in their lagoon, maybe they might take a bite. And we learn all that as we go along, and that's all awesome and fine. That's my preference as to how to learn about a world and whatnot. But somewhere along the way, I feel like it got too smart. That's not the right terminology for what I want to say, but it got too much into the mythology of the world. I feel like for me, and I'm missing some piece. I don't understand something, and I can't even put my finger exactly what it is that I don't understand. It's just at a certain point about the middle of the comic, I kind of felt like, wait, I'm not 100% sure exactly what all this stuff is. So. And I've had conversations with other people, so it's not just me. But maybe if I'm missing something, let me know if you think, oh well, no, it's paint by numbers. What's your problem? But there were some moments that there's some stuff going on and some people and some actions, and I'm not 100% clear on them. And it's the first issue that I've kind of felt like it's had that sort of a thing. So hopefully. It clears up in the next issue, because I really love it. I love the world, love the storytelling. Kelly Thompson, writing a great story, Meredith McLaren, and Becca Carey, beautiful art. So yeah, but there were just some moments that I went, what? So looking forward to my other half reading it. Maybe they aren't as lost as what I am, and find out. All right, next up we have Jenny Sparks. This is issue number 3, I want to say. Yep, book 3. Tom King, written. Jeff Spokes drawn. Love Jeff Spokes' art. What you see there on the covers, what you get inside. If you like watching the Justice League absolutely, completely get their behinds handed to them, this is a great book because they get absolutely stuffed in this issue. And Jenny kind of sits around trying to find a light for her cigarette and telling them that, look, this is your approach you're going to take here. This is going to be bad. They're waiting around for Flash to get there. Once Flash gets there, it's going to be easy. Flash is going to whip in there, grab the hostages, and then all the other heavies will go flying into the place and just, stomp the hell out of Captain Atom. It absolutely does not work that way. They all do their tricks, and they all get hammered. Batman shows up with one of Captain Atom's long lost loved ones, like a granddaughter or something like that, and he's having none of it. No, you're not gonna emotionally pull me around. I deserve to be a god. I deserve to be treated like a god. I'm the hero. I've saved people. One of the hostages in the place happened to have cancer, and he has supposedly cured cancer. So he's using the hostages to kind of play up that he's the good guy, while also, psychologically torturing the hostages, if nothing else. Even if he doesn't realize that's what he's doing, that's what he's doing, because all the hostages that are inside this bar know at any waking moment this guy, on a whim, could scatter their atoms across the universe, or just nuclearly melt them into the floor, or whatever else. I'm still really enjoying it. I have no idea where the book is going to go. Can't remember how many issues it is either. But like I said, I do occasionally enjoy watching the Justice League get thumped, and they get thumped in 3 pages. It's just kind of, wow. But like I said, much enjoyed. I like that Tom King writes all of the Justice League, because it's all from, I feel kind of from Jenny Sparks' viewpoint. The Justice League is kind of one-dimensional in a way. They kind of hit their one note, and that's what they are, which is, like I said, from Jenny Sparks' perspective, I think is pretty perfect. She thinks they're all pretty basic, I believe, and their philosophy on how to deal with stuff was pretty basic. So I think it just adds to the book. So very much enjoy it. Quite the kick. Next up, we have a brand new issue number 1. DC Comics. It is Batman and Robin year 1. So there is, part of the albatross that I think it's hanging over its shoulders is the fact that they put the year 1 title on it. Kind of feel like at this point, a lot of these big companies, DC, Marvel, and stuff like that, basically just keep going back to whether they need to or not, going back to certain wells. They know that there's a sell point because the original Batman year 1 stuff is lauded as some of the great comics of the superhero era. And so they tap into that to get people to buy more of it. I actually have less interest because of that. It doesn't need that. It could just simply be a story from back in the day when they were first around. They don't have to hang that title on it. But I guess the title does inform you that it's set in that era. So I guess it's a mixed bag on that aspect of it alone. I picked up the book because the Chris Samney art, and I wanted to see Chris Samney doing Batman. Every October we get to see him. If you follow him on any social media, he does single pieces of art for each day of October that are Batman oriented. Has been doing it for many, many years. It's quite enjoyable. So the idea of him being on a Bat book, super, super exciting. So Mark Waid is on this book also. Mark Waid is a dear man. Whatever about his writing, just never pulls me in and never grabs me. In this case, he is basically writing, I believe, mostly writing dialogue after the fact. They've got a story assembled that they're going to tell. Chris tells it in his own way, artistically, and then I believe that Mark Waid is going back in and kind of, cleaning up the script that they need to fit what's been delivered in the issue. Story wise, right now the issue is fine. There's some absolutely wonderful artistic scenes in it. I don't know 12 issues of this though. As much as I love the art, it's just, like I said, to some degree it's a story I'm not interested in, but I absolutely love the art. Love the coloring of it. Look at that. Batman's eyes slowly turns into the Batmobile, opens up onto a wonderful old scene. But there are elements that I like. I mean, I always like the early days of the characters, Dick learning and whatnot. It's got Two-Face in this issue, which I dig, and there's supposedly some greater things showing up. We'll see. I said, visually the book is great. Matt Lopes doing the colors on it. He's the guy that colors Belquist Everly's art. I love his art, his coloring here. It's all really subtle. Just some artistically just really, really cool. We'll see. We'll see with the next couple issues whether or not it's going to tell me a story that grips me beyond just, hey, this is fun to look at and see the base romp of it. I don't know. Grimm, issue number 20. I'm still enjoying this. At this point, Stephanie Phillips written, Favano on art. We get the backstory of how death, what the relationship between death and a human is, particularly Jessica's mother in this. We get that story as we go and actually meet Life, because this is a big beef of Life ultimately, and stuff. And I won't say a lot about it, but there's an interaction where Death thinks he has fallen in love with this woman. He goes to a psychologist, to a psychiatrist to try and talk it out. Hopefully that person can give him some sort of wisdom or whatever. Well, because he's Death, he can kind of pick amongst the souls of reaped people. He's talking to Freud. There's a scene in here that which I'm sure is just there for kicks and giggles, or to establish that Mom is kind of her own person and doesn't necessarily probably walk with the your average lady, maybe. I don't know. But there's reference to a strap-on in this, and of course Freud, being Freud, is totally fixated on the whole phallic symbol thing and whatnot. And at one point, Death groans and is leaving the office and saying that he should have talked to Jung instead. And if you have taken a bunch of psychology courses or are into psychology and psychiatry, that's pretty damn funny. Anyway, fun book. Still enjoying it. It feels like we're taking a while to get to some of the points we are. There's this high pressure, no death right now, so the world is just jamming up with people who can't die and the craziness that ensues. And we're doing some enjoyable navel gazing. So I don't know if I'm supposed to be concerned with the fact that the world's kind of coming unhinged while we're slowly off doing stuff, or it feels slowly. Maybe it's not. But yeah, still enjoying the book though. House of Slaughter issue number 28. We start the Azure issues. This is the Blue Mass. This first issue There's some elements I'm clearly missing. Um, they dropped us in the deep end of part of this. I'm pretty sure because there's been so many issues, right? So early on, we had some stories about this um, camp, and there was stuff going on, and we had one of our hunter go out and check it out, and it wasn't really even a hunter. His mission was just to record stuff and whatnot, and so we're dipping back into that, and I don't remember all of that, and maybe that's a fallacy on me for not remember that, but it's probably been 20 issues since that stuff. So a bit of a struggle with that part of it. Still interesting, the ideas and stuff of these of this society still really intrigues me, and so I'm curious to see. So this, because this is about information and information is power, right? I think this one's going to be a much more internal, even more internal than some of the internal struggle was for the Alabaster stuff that we just finished up. So curious to see what's going to be in, but this issue had moments where I felt a little lost, and I think it's just because I don't remember some of those elements, I believe. Profane issue number 5, the final issue of Profane. The covers are smarter than the book. I know some of the people really enjoyed this. It was okay. It was all right. There's an element in this where the police have got a hold of our fictional character in non-fictional land. He tries dancing around stuff and then finally just says, hey, look, this, tells her the truth, and the detective's like, well, why didn't you just say that? And he's like, because that would, I would sound crazy if I said that. And she's like, oh no, we've got a whole detective branch that just deals in literary characters that have come to life casually and just moves on. I laughed because to me, that's an extremely ridiculous thing to drop in the final issue of something. It feels like a very, to me, it feels like a very convenient way just to kind of, write this, stuff off, a way to get me from point A to point B that is just bonkers. And some have suggested that, maybe this means there's going to be other stories ahead. If there are, I wish we already knew that those other stories were coming, because then that element wouldn't feel so bad. That element would feel like an introduction to something else. Right now, it just feels like a crazy way to get from point A to point B immediately. As a writer, I gotta figure out how to get out from under the detective thing so I can move on with the next thing. And this just seems, I don't know. Like the idea of the book of, I say I like the idea, but I'm not 100% sure exactly what all the idea is at this point. If the implied that literary characters just popping out of their books and wandering around, they need to be dealt with. They're committing murders. They're doing whatever they're doing. I don't know. That actually sounds more interesting than from this standpoint. I don't know. It was okay. I didn't particularly enjoy it. I didn't hate it. I don't think it lived up to what my brain thought it should be, or even the implication on the paper as far as that goes. As far as it needing to, he's a literary gumshoe. Okay, we get it. Every issue we get to hear how, he's stuck in this rut of this stuff. Maybe he breaks that rut at the end. I don't know. He's got the book for his ending gets thrown in the trash can, and the bartender sees it. So it does leave an opening for whatever they think they might want to do next. I don't know if I'll be on board for whatever is next. But yeah, the tropiness of it, and I get you're playing with those tropes. The whole point is that he's kind of a trope, a detective trope, with this weird occult end to it also, which, I don't know, seems strange for the rest of the story, because none of the rest of the other parts of the story have any occult or that sort of thing to them. It's just him. He's the only element that does. So if he comes from books that have those sorts of elements, wouldn't there be more of those kind of elements there? It's another thing that instead of feeling like it's part of the story, it feels like a device to move the story quicker to where it needs to by him getting the information without having to gumshoe it out some other sort of way, or just having detectives' intuition as to where he should go next. It's this occult thing. You would think that there'd be other elements then that would have occult elements to it, and it don't. So yeah, I mean, an interesting idea. Covers are super smart, but I wouldn't tell anybody they need to go out and read this. I didn't hate it, but I still question whether or not it did what it needed to do. So next up, we have Where Monsters Lie. This is Cull-De-Sac, issue number 1. I read the original Where Monsters Lie a year or so ago, I want to believe. I mean, I really like Petra Kowalski's art. That was the big reason for jumping on it. Carl Starks can be funny as a writer. He's written some good stuff. I enjoyed the first Where Monsters Lie. It was just ridiculous. It was a kind of a gated community of serial killers of all strips and sizes, from all the kind of horror type movies that you would see, everything from your masked, butcherer to a guy that's kind of like the Saw, where he has massive giant puzzles to murder you by and whatnot, and a special agent, FBI agent, who dedicated his life to hunting these monsters down and taking them out due to a childhood trauma. Well, that kind of happens in the first series, and he gets himself trapped in a situation where he's basically having to go along with them. The girl that he loves, who is pregnant with his child, used to be part of the murder family. She's turned a new leaf and is a normal person now, but she's attached to that, which makes him attached to it now, and they're going to put him through some stuff. Most of the serial killers from that original gated community were wiped out. Few of them are left. They go to another place, a cul-de-sac. There seems to be multiples of these like little communities of killers. And so we get introduced some new killers in this, along with some of our old killers coming to this to live here at their cul-de-sac and kind of take over the business, as it were. But there's some great stuff in here. The serial killers are funny in a lot of ways. There's the holiday killer, and they're all being told they have to up the amount of kills they're doing, because there is the people up above are saying not enough killings getting done now that the gated community got wiped out. So you're all got to do more. And there's a holiday killer, and he's dressed like a Santa Claus costume or something like that, and he's like, or it was Easter or something. But he's like, what am I supposed to do? I mean, I'm a holiday killer. I mean, Arbor Day is next. What am I supposed to just drop trees on people? I mean, he's really frustrated with the fact that trying to figure out what he's going to do for his next, because it's all these elaborate stuff to be the holiday killer. It's not just a matter of killing people on the holiday. It's all holiday related, sorts of things and whatnot. So there's some really funny elements in it. So it's enjoyable. It's amusing. It's kind of a goofy read. And then finally this week, the final issue of Nightwing, The Fall of Grayson, part 5 of 5, from our team of Taylor and Redondo. I really enjoyed this issue. It was a quick wrap up. The end of this wrapped up really quickly, clearly in one issue. We have some drama, and then we end on warm, fuzzy notes as it goes out, as it should, because by and large, up until the Fall of Grayson part of the book, it has largely been a book of joy, a book of good laughs, and just really excited and happy to read a superhero book. And it landed that at the end of this run. And I really appreciate that, and enjoyed it quite a bit. What's really wild is next week the new Nightwing is out, which I think is really interesting. So there's 2 Nightwings in this month. So, and we'll talk about that next week, because I have already read the new Nightwing. But this was a great run, by and large. Super enjoyed it. Hit lots of great joyful notes. The art was just, there's happy Dick Grayson falling between skyscrapers, and that's kind of the art is embodied there. The dog survives to the end. I wasn't sure. Read it, so trauma happens there, and I'm like, okay, and then it's kind of, and then the very last scene shows them looking at the sunset. The dog is there, so it's all good as far as that part goes. Be curious to see if the dog makes it into the next thing or not. But yes, just really had fun reading this, and we'll see. Nightwings is always on a short leash with me, so we'll see where that goes. And that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. What's your opinions? Am I too hard on Profane? It was just me and one other person that's lost on Black Cloak. Or did you think that Wonder Woman was hokey and corny and whatnot? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.